Last month, I said a change was coming, and it's starting to show up in the numbers. Mortgage rates have eased, buyers are back in the hunt, and yet sellers are still calling the shots across Long Island. We're talking home selling above asking, low inventory that refuses to budge, and the biggest tech shakeup in real estate we've seen in quite some time, because Zillow just teamed up with ChatGPT. Let's break it all down, find out what's really going on. Hey everybody, welcome to Long Island Real Estate with me, Sal Catalano. Each month I break down what's actually happening in Nassau and Suffolk County, what's changing locally, and the biggest national stories that could affect our market. And if you've been following since the summer, you know we've been watching for signs of movement in the market. And September's numbers are finally giving us something to talk about. So let's get into it and let's start over in Suffolk. All right, so we're going to start over in Suffolk County. And in Suffolk County, sellers are still holding all of the cards. That has not changed, hasn't changed all year. The average sales price did jump again to $710,000, which is up 1.4% from August, but the real story is it's up more than 7% year over year. Month of inventory is holding at 3.32, which is down nearly 13.5 from last year, which tells us there is still not enough supply to meet the demand, which is why sellers are currently holding all the power right now. The average days on the market is 31, so just around the month, which is kind of where we've been. And here's the stat that really tells the story over in Suffolk. The sold to list ratio, so what they're getting compared to their asking price, is 100.7%, which is the highest that we've seen all year. So that means the average Suffolk house is selling for almost 8% over its asking price. Which, if you're a seller, that's great news. It doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon, and that's awesome. But what does that mean for buyers? If you're shopping in Suffolk, this isn't the time to lowball or hesitate. Homes that are priced right are flying, often with multiple offers the first weekend. So buyers need to be pre-approved. You need to be ready to act fast, know your inspector, be working closely with your agent, so you know with an agent that knows how to strategize against multiple offers and can even maybe win you one based on terms, to maybe beat out the same or a little bit of a higher offer. And for sellers, like I talked about, this is still a fantastic window to sell. Even though more buyers are returning to the market thanks to the lower interest rates, inventory hasn't caught up, so if you list correctly, not overpriced, not under, you'll still be in control. All right, now moving on over to Nassau County. Over in Nassau, we're seeing that same pattern. We're seeing limited inventory, which is keeping the sellers in charge. The average sales price, believe it or not, this is actually some good news for buyers, sits at $849,000, which is, believe it or not, down from August $870,000. But compared to last year, it's still 5% higher. So the months of inventory is sitting right at 3, which is unchanged month over month. But that also is down 12% from last year. And the average days on the market is sitting at 30, so just essentially where Suffolk is and kind of where it's been. Here's where there's a big difference from Suffolk. The average sold to list ratio in Nassau County is at 100.6. So homes are still selling a little bit above asking on average, but not much. So that kind of is something to take into account when you're formulating your offers and everything like that. But Nassau's market is stable. It's kind of been where it has been, and buyers are kind of playing it smart. Again, if you've been following along, I've talked about this a couple times in the last couple months, but there is a kind of a story of two different markets in Nassau. Homes under $1 million are still the hot zone, unsurprisingly. They're attracting intense competition, especially from first-time move-up buyers and commuters coming in from the city who are looking for a better commute or a school district they prefer or something like that. If you're a buyer in this range, you need to have your financing and your offer strategy lined up before you even take a look at a home. And for sellers, pricing correctly is key. Because remember what we talked about, how sold to list ratio is just over 100%. So that's why where you price is so important in Nassau County. Buyers, they're getting savvy over there. They'll skip over a property if it's overpriced, or they're being very smart, strategically, like, all right, you know what? I like that one. I think it's a little overpriced. Let's see if there's a lot of action on it. If not, let's see if maybe there's going to be a price discount, or maybe we can go in lower. So that's kind of that. If you're priced right, you're move-in ready, well presented, your home should sell, and you should do well on it. But if you don't, that's when the buyers can swoop in and get a deal. So buyers, that's also something to keep in mind. All right, so what's my take on all of this? Back in August, I said we were on the edge of change, and September kind of confirmed it. We're seeing more buyer activity, but sellers still have the leverage, especially in Suffolk County, where we're seeing such a high, list to sold ratio. The lowered mortgage rates have created a little breathing room for buyers, but it hasn't been enough to shift the balance of power. So as we head into this final stretch of the year, I know it's crazy, but we're barreling right through Q4 here. We're likely to see a market where both sides are active. The interest rates are going to get buyers active, and that's going to get sellers active. But the sellers are going to continue to set the tone with how they're pricing and how they're presenting. So if you're thinking about buying, don't wait for perfect conditions. Find the house and move on in the conditions that you're in. Waiting just often means you're going to pay more later. I'm not telling you to rush into a house, but the most important thing is find the house, because you don't know what the market's going to be like. We know what the market is like. So take that into account. All right, now let's take a look at just what's happening around Long Island. A story that I found that really kind of sparked my interest. I thought it was very interesting because it blends technology, safety, and community, all things that I'm interested in. The Suffolk County Police are now deploying drones to respond to 9/11 calls. This new program sends drones to scenes within minutes, sometimes before officers even arrive. So making Suffolk one of the first counties in the nation to use drone tech at this scale. It's just another example of how innovation keeps shaping life, on Long Island and just everywhere. From how we protect our communities to how we monitor traffic and safety. This kind of infrastructure investment, makes our towns more connected, more desirable, and safer. So when people feel safe, they invest, and that always has a ripple effect on housing demand. So definitely just something that I thought was interesting, pretty cool. I'll link the article in the comments below. All right, so now let's take a look at a national headline that I thought was interesting. That stuff definitely can impact your home search. Finally, a win for Zillow after some rough headlines over the past few weeks and months about lawsuits and all sorts of stuff. Big win for them. Zillow just announced a partnership with ChatGPT, letting users search for homes directly inside the AI platform. So now you can literally just type or say, show me a 3-bedroom home in Huntington under $900,000, and ChatGPT will pull real-time Zillow listings right into the chat. It's a smart move for Zillow just in general, but it's also is a great move PR-wise, because like I said, with the hits that they've taken in recent months. But this puts Zillow right back at the center of the AI conversation. And honestly, it's a win for consumers too. It simplifies the search process. Everybody, is using ChatGPT and everything like that more and more. So if you're going to be using it, it just is a natural extension. So between Suffolk's new drone program and this new Zillow AI integration, the theme for this month, I guess, is technology is changing how we live and how we buy and sell homes. So it's always something you want to keep stay on the pulse of, and something that I'll keep updating you on because I find it very interesting. All right, so that is your September 2025 Long Island real estate market update. Cannot believe we are already in October. absolute insanity. Year's going to be over before we know it. But both counties, Nassau and Suffolk, are still in strong sellers markets. But the next few months will tell whether lower rates can bring enough listings to balance things out. So if you're a seller, this is your time to list smart. Demand is very, very strong. Competition is still limited. It just always is in general going into the fourth quarter. But buyers are eager, especially with those rates lowering. They're really getting excited about it. If you're a buyer, I've talked about it in other videos, talked about it in this video. I will continue to just beat the drum. Preparation is everything. You need to be prepared when you're going in and you're looking at homes in case you find one. Again, you've heard it before. I'll say it again. Get your financing in place. You need to strategize with your agent. I would love to help you out, obviously. That's a big thing that I do that I think separates myself is I do really like to sit down, go through, a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, preparing clients for what they can expect and, what we should do in what situation. So that's big. You definitely want to do that. You want an agent that knows the local market. And you just need to be able to move quickly. You need to know that, hey, I might need to, if I find something, we need to get an inspection done the next day. I need to be able to know that I might have to take a half day off work to get that inspection done. It's that type of preparation that really gets you ready to go. Other than that, you can follow me at South Carolina _real estate on all social media stuff. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss an update. And I will see you next month right here on Long Island Real Estate with South Carolina. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.